You are listening to Hashtag Impact, a podcast about stuff that matters. I am Regina Larco, your host, and in Season 4, I revisit some of the most inspirational, purpose-driven founders we have featured on Hashtag Impact in the past. But this week, I am making an exception. But in a way, I'm not, because this founder was meant to be featured on Hashtag Impact a long time ago. But then I happened to have a baby, which turned the planning of the previous Season 3 of Hashtag Impact a bit upside down. And the recording I was meant to do with Kay Rawbone, co-founder and director of Salability, back 1.5 years ago, could only be done now. But oh my, you know what they say about when you wait for something a really long time, that it's really worth it and that it just gets even better. And that's exactly what happened here. I'm so thrilled to be bringing you this very special episode today that we recorded right at the water, overlooking the gorgeous Hong Kong shoreline. As we were standing at the pier, I could spot the colorful sailing boats in the distance, and I had to squint my eyes as the sun was brightly reflecting back from the ocean on that stunning, pleasant late summer day. Salability is celebrating their 10th birthday on November 23rd, with a celebration of thanks to all who have made Salability happen during this time. I'm so happy that they're taking time to celebrate this milestone. This is so important. And I think a lot of us, especially purpose-driven founders, organizations, we always do, work. But to actually take a moment to celebrate is so important. We at Hashtag Impact also want to take a moment now and celebrate you, our loyal listeners all over the globe. Without you, this production would not be possible. So we send a very warm thanks to all of you, and especially to all of these really wonderful people that are supporting our production by joining us at Hashtag Impact Club. If you're curious what this club is all about, just head over to hashtagimpact.com/club, and you can also find lots of special episodes from this season's charity beneficiary Kelly support group. But now, please do sit back and join us at Hippie Haven Yacht Club to hear Kay's amazing story of impact. And make sure to stay with us all the way to the end when we announce the winners of our latest Hashtag Impact Club drawing. Enjoy! Today I sit down with a very special woman. Kay Rawbone is the co-founder and director of Salability Hong Kong. Kay, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Regina. It's been a long time in happening, I think, this. We spoke a few years ago. And here we are at long last, so that's good.
We spoke a few years ago just before my maternity leave with my second one. I think that was that day.
I think so.
So, doing my research, of course, I found a gorgeous video of you.
Oh, did you?
I did. And it was actually recorded a few years back. And in this video, you share a little bit about the Salability story. And there you said about your charity, it's just gone beyond our dreams. It just keeps growing and getting better and better. So I actually want to take you back to those early dreams, back in 2009.
Okay.
What were the dreams you had back then when you first started out with your husband, Mike?
Well, our dream was to give something to Hong Kong. Take sailing away from the expats of Hong Kong, but give it to the local community. But to do that, we had to start with people that we knew and at a club that we knew. And we started off with students that I worked with at the Nesbitt Centre. This was, we were told by the RYA, which is the Royal Yachting Association in the UK, that we should be starting with physically disabled people. But because it was the area that I worked in, for me it just seemed sensible that we started off with people with special needs. So I had a few people come down. I think we had about 8 and chose 4 from that group, 4 young men and 1 lady. And 2 of those are still with us after 10 years. The other 2 have left Hong Kong, or they would still be sailing. And we didn't think it would grow as fast and as big as it has. But now, it has gone beyond our wildest dreams. I say this all the time. I've just done a recent video, and again I say beyond our wildest dreams. And we're now in the top 10 busiest RYA sailability centres in the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So, yes.
Yeah. And there are some other groups just getting ready. We have to take the listeners a little bit to tell them what's happening here, because this is maybe something that's very similar as well to how you set up. There's just a group coming in and they're all gathering. This is a group of children and they're getting ready now to get on the boat, I guess?
Yes, they are.
Is this what's happening?
Yes,
usually for your groups as well?
Of course. We've had a group here earlier today, and it was from a special school in Hong Kong, the Caritas Lock Yi School, who have been sailing with us for about 4 years. Now, those children are quite severe disabilities. The children here today are from a school, I think. They've come for after-school sailing. But again, it's always noisy and always fun and always happy, and that's what sailing is all about.
Yeah, it's just walking in here. I mean, there's just something about this magic of being close to the water, or in the water, on the water, right?
No, it is.
I mean, I believe I read somewhere that your sailing passion, that it all started because of your husband, actually. He introduced you to sailing,
yes,
is that right?
Yes, my husband started sailing when he was about 8.
Wow.
So it was when we met, and we married very young.
Yeah.
Well, I was young, he's a little bit older than I am. And then I got into sailing. Yeah. Sadly, not sadly, but fortunately, we could sail. We had a boat here. But then when we started sailability, we don't usually sail ourselves because we don't have time. Right. But we have the expertise, and I think with what we started with my work within the Nesbitt Centre with special needs adults, and we also have some very good volunteers that come from different walks of life, and they came along and helped us to set up what we've got. And it really is truly amazing. And I always say to people, if you really want to see what we do, come and see us. Come down and see what we do.
Yeah, so for all the listeners in Hong Kong,
yes, I know.
They should come.
I know.
So usually they find you here on Saturdays, right? Here at TB Haven?
Well, I'm usually here on Saturday, although now since I've taken semi-retirement from Nesbitt Centre, I'm down here more often. Yeah. Our programmes sometimes during the year are 7 days a week. We're now getting bigger and bigger with different types of programmes. And on Sundays we have 2 programmes running. We've expanded into very different and diverse areas from what we originally started with. We were fortunate in 2013 to have an invite to go into the Asian Para Games, which you can read about on the website. And at that time, we didn't have any people with physical disabilities. So a call went out into the local community, and we ended up with about 30 people come along on a recruitment evening for people with disabilities that wanted to participate. And from that we built up a team to go to Korea in 2014. That team are still together, and they have won many, many medals, and we have won more medals than the able sailors in Hong Kong. We've won gold and bronze. We haven't got any silver yet, so we need to be working on that one. But that's both for physically disabled and intellectually disabled. So we do enter regattas and competitions. And a really big passion of mine is for the people with special needs, is that now it's been added into world sailing. So in 2023, there will be an international regatta around the world for people with special needs, which I'm really, really happy about.
And I mean, it all started with 2 boats, right? Back in the days? Is that how it started?
It did. When we first started, we didn't have our own boats. So we had some staff trained up at the Nesbitt Centre, and they used to accompany the 4 that were chosen to start it every Monday, and they used to come down here. But it always meant that they'd have an instructor, a member of staff, and themselves on the boat. But we always wanted them to be able to sail by themselves. Then we had a visit from a guy called Chris Mitchell from Australia, and it was just after the Beijing Olympics or around that time. And what he wanted to do was sell these boats to China. And on his way, he stopped off at the club, and we watched some videos. And the one that really touched Mike and I was a ventilated quadriplegic that in one of his boats was able to sail by herself solo. They put her ventilator into the transom, that's the back of the boat, and she had buttons on a helmet that she controlled the steering and she controlled the sails. And to see her, it was just magical. So Mike and I placed an order for 2 boats that day. We were very lucky. We had many, many people that wanted to support what we did and went out, and they bought boats for us. You know, they could have their company logo on the sails, but that really started us off. And from that day, we've now got 34 boats, 4 different classes, so that we have a progression. Whenever our sailors start, there's a progression in their sailing, which is super.
How is it for your community, your participants in the program, when they come the first time? I read this in an article. There was one person who, and I think she was an athlete, and then she joined this program for the first time, and she actually had a lot of reservations to get out there in the water the first time and to build the trust and actually get on the boat.
Oh, it was.
So how is that for I guess everyone's different. Some are just excited to try it out. But I mean, we have to just, I think for us, as someone who doesn't have a disability, we often cannot really understand how difficult it even is to just physically, just to get into the boat and set offshore, go away from that land safety.
I think the person you're referring to is in our parasailing team.
Yeah.
And she was a silver medalist in the London Paralympics.
Yes, exactly.
She's a fencer, and she still sails with us now. And what we did, because this para team that we have is made up of people that were athletes in other sports, other para sports, but they'd never been given the opportunity or chance to sail. So they were really keen. And what we did, the boats that we have are very safe. The boats that they learnt to sail in is a Hansa 303, which is very unlikely to capsize, very difficult. We never say it won't capsize, but very difficult. So what we did, we got somebody to climb up the mast and pull it over. That's how difficult it is to capsize. They had buoyancy aids, life jackets on, and we threw all these people with disabilities, and they agreed to this. It wasn't something we made them do. We wanted them to see what it was like to be in the water. Now, some of them had been divers as well as having physical disabilities, and I think they just got the passion. It was the freedom. And with these guys now, the windier and the harsher the conditions are, they love it. You know, to take somebody from a wheelchair and put them in a boat, and the freedom and the speed that you can go at is something that you can't match, I think. She is wonderful. You know, I don't want to mention her name, but we have many sailors like this. We have those that come along that have had accidents now. We do people that have had strokes or road traffic accidents, and we change people's lives in that way. We have one young man who is married. They made a program about him on iCable, and he'd had a road traffic accident, had been a level 4 sailor before. He was been left with some hemiplegia and some aphasia, so things aren't working the way they used to. And he came sailing with his wife. And we were out one Saturday afternoon, and if conditions are right, I'm all for getting people to sail by themselves. So I said to his wife, out of the boat, you know, come onto the safety boat. And we let him go. And his smile was the biggest smile you've ever seen. From being supported, it was freedom, and I'm here now on my own doing something. He very quickly went through the levels of boats that we have, and now can sail a 2.4 MR and competes against other people, competes sometimes against able-bodied people. And to me, sailing is very, very good at doing this. It's a very, very inclusive sport. So I think it's really changing lives. And now he actually helps others. The lady that you were speaking about that has a wheelchair, this other gentleman, he will go and get her chair for her because she cannot walk. So at the end of sailing sessions, he's usually here on a Sunday, and he will go and help others less able than he is. And again, it's a story, you know, they are just so confident now with what they do. They know more about some of the boats than I know. You know, they're sailing these 2.4 MRs, which 2/3 of them in the world are owned by able-bodied people, not people with disabilities. So I think they like the challenge and they like the opportunity.
And is this where you draw your energy and your motivation from as well? Because you make it sound easy now, what you do. But I mean, it's hard work to build something from scratch and to keep going and fundraising and making sure that it does grow. So I wonder, like, is these moments with the individuals that are then here, is that the thing where you see the most impact, or are there any other ways how you measure for your organization the impact that you're making?
I think with the schools, I think we see the impact there with the amount of times they want to come back sailing. And I think especially Lockheed, Caritas Lockheed School, have just introduced another school to us, another special needs school who will be sailing here next week. They see the benefits to children that maybe academically are not going to achieve as others do. They see the difference in the children when they bring them down here, when the bus pulls up in the car park and they see where they are. And they're going to go into the boats and have that special time and have their lunch away from the classroom. We get the feedback from the schools in that way. We get feedback from parents with how more independent they're growing. We also have some guys that come on Saturdays that may be within a school where many are non-verbal, but we have some real chatterboxes on a Saturday, and to be around people that speak is very special. You know, in their own way they're joining in, and nobody's different. Within Sailability we're a very big family, and everybody works with everybody else, and everybody respects everybody else, and to me it's just the most amazing thing. It really is. Since we started, we've had, I think it's approaching 2,300 different sailors sail with us. Now, many of those return time and time again. And we have grown in our programs. You know, we started off with just intellectually disabled, as I said before, then physically disabled. We've now got people with strokes, people with illnesses, life-changing illnesses. We've now gone into a type of partnership with Sun and Kai Financial on a Scallywag program, where this is opened up to the underrepresented youth of Hong Kong. So these are people from low-income families, people from family crisis families. So with the help of Sun and Kai, we can get more people on the water, maybe change their lives, and I'm sure we will, by giving them more confidence, giving something different. Many people think a sailing club is only for the rich. It's not. It's something that can help people within their daily lives. And we see it here all the time. You're talking about how difficult it was to keep going. We've been volunteer-led up until now. And because we're growing so much, we now need to raise funds to employ somebody to run it properly. The only people we pay are our instructors. So Mike and I do lots and lots of fundraising to try and get money in to help us. People buy boats, which is always easier, but we've now got 34, as I've said before. We don't have any room for any more at the moment. So if anybody's out there listening and, you know, would like to be a main sponsor, then do let me know. But, you know, that's the way forward. Now, we want it to be sustainable. We want it to be still family run the way we are, even if people are paid to work for us, because I think we have a special and unique opportunity in Hong Kong.
And your husband, the co-founder,
yes,
how does that work as a family-run organization? Was it always clear who takes what role, or who? It was really lovely meeting him just now and having him here say, you know, Kay is better at that. She's going to do the interview. Does that come naturally as a couple that you kind of know, okay, I'm going to take this role, you're going to take this role, or has it also changed over the years what your roles within the organizations are?
No, I don't think it's really changed because I had the expertise working with people with disabilities. That actually started off my childhood. I grew up with a cousin that had Down syndrome. At a very early age, about 14, I joined a fab club to go to discos and things with people with disabilities, and it's just been within my life. When I met Mike then understood where my passion was, and it was helping other people. So over the years, and we've been married a very long time, he's seen that part. Mike's been chairman of the company, of Sailability Hong Kong, since we started. And, he's done a very good job. He's had lots of contacts. I'm more the people person, the person who always chats, and I don't know, as I keep saying, it's like a family. They're all like a family to me. They're all very special. Everybody's unique. Where Mike does a lot of maintenance as well. 34 boats takes a lot of looking after and fundraising. So we do the fundraising together, usually. And yes, we have our own little roles, and it's good now, actually, because I've gone into semi-retirement from Nesbitt Centre. I've got more time to interact with the schools that are here and see exactly how people are benefiting from what we do. Yeah.
Looking at the past, 10 years.
I know.
Congratulations. It's a big year for you.
It is, and it doesn't seem that long at all.
It's 1 decade.
Yes,
and it just
I know.
goes by like that,
Oh, it does.
right?
It does go by like that.
And you see your organization grow up or become a young adolescent.
Yes,
now.
that's right.
How there must have been some moments where you had a rough time to keep going. What do you think, what you could share with our listeners now, one setback that you overcame and that maybe you came out of stronger on the other side?
Oh, it's quite difficult because I'm very positive, and so I've taught Mike to be very positive. We don't say no, we say yes and then find out how we do things. I think there have been times when we've wondered how we're going to take things forward. Being a volunteer-led organisation, it's always funding. Where does the next lot of funding come from? Up until this year, we haven't had any money really from the Hong Kong Sailing Federation. We had payment this year for us to go internationally to Spain, which was great and very, very well received. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have a big event in December, but with conditions, and in Hong Kong at the moment, we had 23 countries coming, which would have been an amazing, inclusive regatta. It was for anybody, able-bodied, any ability to take part in it. But we had to sit down, and I think that's probably the disappointment that we've had. On the other hand, we've gone through and we're the biggest in Asia, which compensates, so we go back to positives because I don't do negatives. We held the first Paralympic development program here to spread the word around Asia. So World Sailing come here and they do programs here with other Asiatic countries. I don't know, we've just done a lot. We like to be the forerunner and just take it forward because we see the difference. It's the life changes, it's the opportunities that we give people. I'm now looking at an elderly class. Yes. We've got some parents that will be accompanying the Hong Kong Society for the Blind with Intellectual Disabilities on the 27th of October. Now, those parents and siblings will accompany their adult children or siblings in our boats. We'll have 20 down on that day. And the parents have been along to a couple of training days and thoroughly enjoyed it. And when I said to them, do you fancy joining an elderly programme? Yes, get this elderly programme going. For me, I think that is good. It's good for the person, but also it could help us too with another volunteer base, to encourage them, train them up. We do programmes with the schools too where we train parents and carers and teachers to accompany people. So I think it's just opening up sailing and opening up. We're sitting out here and it's beautiful. And just give them a space where they can come and enjoy the time. At the weekends, we have a Saturday programme that is full. We have 16 to 18 young people on Saturdays. We have 2 sessions, some stay all day. Then on Sunday we have sessions. And on Sundays, when the guys go out and these have learning disabilities, their parents sit and they have a group and they sit and talk and share things. And I think that's important too, for parents to share. You know, while their children are out on the water enjoying themselves, but it's sharing in that way. We're looking forward to working with Jardines with their Mindset programme. We had people down last week.
Did that work out?
Oh, it did.
Oh, wonderful.
No.
I was keeping my fingers crossed.
Yes, no, it was fine.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we had, I think it was 10 people from the Hong Kong Mental Health Association and 2 service users. And I managed to convince the service users to actually go on the boats first. So we gave them a little trial, but they will be here on the 3rd of November, 10 service users to try our programme. And I think it's a way of confidence building for them and just trying something new. And the water is very relaxing, very calming. But just to be here, and again, you know, I did say to Jardines, if their parents want to come with them, come and have a little support group here. You know, get the guys on the water. These will be adults. But sailing's age doesn't matter. Yeah, in Spain this year we were in Porto-Sherry, which was beautiful, for the Para Worlds, and the youngest sailor there was 13 from France. He came 5th in the world in the Hansa 303. The eldest sailor was 83. There aren't many sports where everybody can compete with such a big age difference.
Oh, that's amazing.
And different abilities. Yes.
Yeah, and I have married into a family of sailors.
Good.
And, you know, growing up in Vienna, I never really had so much access to the ocean. There is some sailing going on actually on the Danube, but my family was just never into it.
No.
But now with my Swedish family, every summer we would go on the sailing boat, and I keep hearing those stories all the time, how my husband was on the boat since he was 3 weeks old.
Yes, I know.
And I just can't believe it, but it's something that you can tell also within the family what kind of bonding experience that is for them as well.
Yes.
How wonderful that you can bring that to so many families here in Hong Kong, to have this shared experience of, you know, mastering a new skill, getting out on the water.
Yes, that's right.
And
that's right.
It's just wonderful to talk about it as well, as you say, not just here when they are here, but then when they go home, and then when they look at the pictures from the last weekend.
Right. We also, within our programmes, have parents that sail with their children that have disabilities, and I think there aren't many sports where that can happen. You know, they go out and enjoy time together. I think that's very special. We're helping, as you probably know, people that have looked at the website. We work with a lot of NGOs as well. 24-hour dinghy race we take part in, which was over the first weekend in October. We won again for the 4th time in 5 years, so we have our fingers crossed.
Amazing.
So we have parasailers that won there. But Sailability had 9 boats on the water out of 38 boats. Our Saturday sailors came 3rd in class and 9th overall, and they were ecstatic, you know. I have ladies that stay with me overnight, so these are ladies with special needs, but they stay overnight and they're woken up in the middle of the night and they have fun. They have a fun time. It's taking people out of their comfort zone, I think, but also engaging them in things that other people at their age will do, and not being any different. And I just love that.
Yeah. You mentioned your volunteers a couple of times
now,
yes. And that they are the heart of the organization. And I have a little surprise for you, actually.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Oh.
I have to manage to open it for you. So I want to play you a little message.
Okay.
From one of your community members, and I just think it's.
Is it one that's left Hong Kong? Is it?
Maybe.
Can I guess who it is? Start with N.
Maybe. So let's just hear what she has to say about you. I just gave her one task. I said, finish the sentence. K is.
Kay is one of the most humble and beautiful souls I've ever met. She's dedicated her life to helping others, and though she often doesn't see this as a big deal, she positively changes people's lives in ways that they could never have imagined for themselves. These young kids and adults, often lacking support from other sources, with Sailability are able to find a home and community full of people who care, understand and support. Week in, week out, they inspire hope which helps positively change the sailors' outlook on life and possibilities for the future. At the same time, the work that Kay and Mike and Sailability do is helping redefine what it means to be a person with a disability, especially in Hong Kong.
Oh, Nikki, I miss you so much. Oh, Nikki became like a surrogate daughter to Mike and I. You know, Mike and I are older and we have children in the UK, so we tend to bond with younger people. I think that's what keeps us young. You know, we don't want to be with the oldies. We like to be with the young people to keep us young. But thank you so much, Nikki. It's very special people come to Sailability.
Yeah. So Nikki is, I think, still heart of Sailability, although she has now moved on to another city, but she has been part of your organization for a long time, volunteering. What would you like to say now to your volunteers, not just Nikki in general, but maybe also inspiring some listeners out there that maybe would like to give back? What do your volunteers mean for the organization?
Our volunteers are so important. We send out a message each week asking our volunteers to come and take part in what we do. And I always say at the end of everything, without you, we couldn't do what we do. And we can't run Sailability without volunteers. I think to come along and participate, you learn. You learn more about an inclusive world. You learn more about how to deal with people with disabilities, you know, how to learn from them. We can learn a lot from people with disabilities, but also the progress that they make. And one of our volunteers at the moment, he will always say, when you see our sailors on land and then you see them on the water, when we have people with disabilities, with special needs, who can actually take those lesser able than themselves sailing, or can sail by themselves. And it's just the wow factor. You know, so if you're interested, just phone me, email me, come and see what we do, because you will want to be here. I tell you, you will. You will want to be here.
Yeah.
We need sailors during the week as well to help with our special schools. We are 97% local. So if you're a local person, it doesn't matter. If you don't speak English, it doesn't matter. We've done what we've done, and Mike and I can only just direct a taxi in Cantonese. We don't speak Cantonese, but it's not a problem. Everybody's very hands-on. You know, we don't have any hierarchy at all. We all work together to make it happen.
We started off with the dreams you had starting out. So I'd actually like to wrap up with that as well. What's your dream for Sailability looking ahead, you know, next decade? What do you envision?
Next year we can become a centre of excellence. We've got other organisations joining us, as I said, and one of them I forgot to mention was the Lutheran School. So this will be the first time we've had people with hearing impairment join us. So we fit all the categories. As I said earlier, we're 10th busiest in the world. So to get the centre of excellence, but also to make Sailability sustainable. We want it to be here forever. And it's trying to build up with succession planning, get regular funding coming in so that this can carry on. It is making such a difference in Hong Kong. And that's what we want. So in another 10 years, I don't know whether Mike and I will still be here. I'm sure we will. We keep young at heart, so maybe we will. But I think I would like to still see that it's here. Maybe move to different venues. Maybe open up more accessibility within the sailing clubs in Hong Kong. Because at the moment, Hebe Haven is the most accessible sailing club. Maybe get our own land. We get our own sailing club. That would be wonderful.
That would be amazing.
It
and
would.
If someone makes it happen,
Yes.
then you
I know.
and Mike
We'd be
and the Sailability team.
Yeah, we'd just be over the moon.
Yes.
We would, yes.
Okay, before I let you go, you have to go through the legendary #Impact quick fire round with me.
Oh, okay. Okay, then.
So I'm going to give you three questions,
Okay.
And you can give me your quick answer.
Okay, all right.
Making an impact means?
Making a difference to people's lives, changing lives.
What I wish I knew when I was 20.
How successful the change Mike and I could make in Hong Kong.
And last but not least, a very big question. What could our listeners do right now, after they finished listening to this recording, to make the world a better place?
Think about inclusiveness and how you would like to be treated, and treat people the way that impacts on you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kay.
No, that's lovely, Regina.
I want to send everyone to your website now so they can get in touch and reach out.
Yes.
Where should they go when they want to get in touch?
It's www.sailability.org.hk. Or you can just Google Sailability Hong Kong and you'll come to us.
Amazing. Thank you so much for today and
thank you,
having
Regina.
me here at this beautiful, beautiful
Yacht Club.
terrace yacht club. You just have to come here, listeners. When you're here based in Hong Kong, that's what you should do. Put it on your to-do list for the autumn. I mean, the weather.
The weather is
its
beautiful.
Best
It
right
is.
now, and you just get out of the city, get out, come to Sai Kung, and see us here instead. Thank you so much for today, and good luck for everything that's ahead for Sailability.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you. It's been super. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining us today. What a woman, don't you think? I mean, just listening back to the episode, it takes me right back to that moment when we were sitting there at the shoreline. And there are a lot of many exciting things that Kay and her team look forward to next year. There will be fundraising to take some sailors with both physical and intellectual disabilities to the Hansa Worlds in LA. This is without doubt the biggest open regatta for sailors of all abilities. So this includes able sailors too. And they're all competing together. And so that's such a great thing that they can be part of. And Kay is super, super excited about that. As they work towards the first INES regatta in 2023, this regatta is a great stepping stone for sailors with an intellectual disability to show their abilities on the water. Many thanks to World Sailing, says Kay. And Sailability will also work toward getting sailing back into the Asia Para Games and the Paralympics. So watch this space as they believe there is good news on the horizon. So make sure to check them out, check out their updates on their social media, reach out to them. And as Kay said, they would love to meet you. They love to have new people over. So please do make sure to get in touch with them. If you're based in Hong Kong, come out to Sai Kung and see what they do, and you will be amazed. Reach out to Kay and just get in touch with her. You find all the links to this episode, as always, at #impact.com. So just look for Season 4. So you can go to #impact.com Season 4. And now, as promised, #Impact Club members out there, are you listening? Who is the winner of our latest lucky draw? You get to win a really, really great book today. It's one of my favorite books, actually. I read it back to back within a few days. And that means a lot because I hardly ever find time to read nowadays with my 2 little girls. But this one really was a page turner. It's called Purpose Incorporated, Turning Cause into Your Competitive Advantage. It's written by John Wood and Amalia McGibbon. And what is so great is that I got to pick up that book in person when John Wood gave a talk here in Hong Kong a while back, and I got it signed for you. So this is really great. So congratulations to our lucky winner. Drum rolls. Anna, you will be receiving this book in your postbox very soon. Thanks so much for joining us today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.